What's going on, mi gente? Louis the Boiler Man here. Guys, I am very excited today to talk about oil burners. The question is, what is an oil burner? So I'm going to show you right now what an oil burner is first. So this is the three most common oil burners. You see a Riello, you see a Carlin, and you see a Beckett. But what exactly is an oil burner? An oil burner is actually, because when you talk about a boiler, it's actually two pieces. You got the boiler block, which is the kettle or what's holding the water, and you got the burner. And the burner is basically the gun that's heating up the water, if that makes any sense. If you can think about it or vision it, basically the burner, think of your stove, a gas stove. So the burner is the actual fire that's heating up your pot, right? Let's say we're talking about a pot of pasta. So your burner is the actual stove itself, the burner, and then the boiler is your actual pot. If that makes any sense for you guys, that's the only way I can explain it to you guys. But this is why it heats up the water. This is the heart of the whole system. Because if you don't have a burner, you're not going to have any heat. And you don't have any heat, you're going to have people bitching and crying. So guys, the burner is the main component as far as fire, heating up that water, transfer of heat. So I want to show you, first one is the Riello burner. The Riello burner is an Italian burner. It looks something like this. So first, when you look at the burner, it looks just something like this. This is actually the cover. The cover serves two purposes. One is obviously the cover, so it makes it look nice and neat. But the second component, or the second reason, the second part of the actual cover is that it muffles the noise, so you don't hear that combustion noise. So let's take off the cover, guys. So we'll remove the cover right here, and this is what a Riello burner looks like. Let me move this to the side for you guys to get a better look. It looks something just like this. Now that we finished getting that out the way as far as what is an oil burner, now we're going to get to the best part. And the best part is we're going to do a teardown on this Riello oil burner. That's right, that's what everybody wants, everyone wants to see. And that's actually my favorite part. So guys, let's get started. Alright, so whenever you do it, taking this burner apart, there's several things you need to know. So to remove this relay right here, it's pretty simple. Take off this screw. Well, you don't have to really take it off, but you can just loosen it up. You can loosen it up just like this. And you're gonna remove this relay just like that. Guys, it's very simple. I'm gonna make it as simple as I can make it, as simple as it can be. So you're gonna loosen this screw right here. You're gonna remove this oil burner relay, and it comes off just like that. So once you take this off, there's actually a little wiring diagram right here. You guys take a look at it. So if you need to wire up the oil burner, it's right here, or you can just look it up on YouTube or Google it. Alright guys, so the next thing is, because guys don't like working on oil burners, particularly on Riello, because they're a pain in the ass to work on. And I'm going to show you why. So the next thing is, you want to remove this oil pump, we got to remove this delay valve right here, or this solenoid valve. So this is pretty easy. This is just a matter of grabbing up the screw to the left, loosen her up, take it just like that, take off this little bracket, just like that, and that's it. If this was ever bad, you're gonna have to change the oil pump. But if this was ever bad as far as the solenoid itself, it's very simple to replace. I mean, it's just a matter of just taking off your wires, put the wires back together, and put this right back on the oil pump just like that. But in this case, we're gonna disconnect it because we removed the oil pump. So this, you can put this to the side. Now, the next thing we gotta do, we gotta loosen up the little brass plug. Well, it's not even a plug. It's actually like the little flare nut, which connects to the oil assembly or the draw assembly. So I would advise you guys, because it's brass, use an adjustable rather than using channel locks. Channel locks are fine. The problem is with channel locks, when you're using channel locks on brass, you got teeth marks. And then when you're using channel locks, what happens, it leaves teeth marks in there. And remember, brass is soft, so it doesn't take much for it to leave marks and ruin up the fitting. So that's why I would always advise you guys to use an adjustable. So let's get an adjustable. Alright guys, just over here. So we're going to remove this little fitting right here. Alright guys, so loosen her up. And once you loosen up, do the same thing I'm doing right here. Alright, I'm going to put this fitting up, move this to the side. It's copper, so you can bend it a little bit, has a little play. Now the other thing is, people don't know, because if they don't know, if you don't read or you lack information, you're not going to know. But I'm going to show you today. So what holds this oil pump onto this motor? There's actually a set screw here. It's very hard to see, but there's an Allen key set screw right here. This one here in the back, and there's one here on the bottom. Right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's right inside here. So there's 3 set screws. Sometimes guys take off the ones on the bottom, so they're usually 1 or 2, but it's definitely gonna be a minimum at least 1 or 2 set screws, but they're supposed to be 3. So just again, to go over it, 1, 2, 3. And there's actually a little slot there you can put your Allen key if you want. So we're gonna move her. So I got an Allen key ready. So there's 1. We have another one here. Alright guys, so I don't gotta take out the whole set screw out if I don't want to, but just loosen her enough that I can back out the screw just enough that I can remove the actual oil pump. So there's a third one here, but it's already there is a third set screw here, it's already been removed. I removed it for the video so make it easier for the video so you guys can see and understand, but I'm gonna show you guys. So now we're able to remove the oil pump, looks something like this. And that's how you remove an oil pump on a Riello oil burner. Let me show you a little side view. So this is the pump, I'm sorry, this is the motor, my apologies, this is the motor. And this is the set screw. You got 1 here, 2, and 3. So think of it, it's a shaft, and the set screw is just basically holding the actual hub of the oil pump in place. You can see it right here. So it's actually holding on just like that, if that makes any sense. So that's exactly what it's doing right here. It's holding on, so it's not gonna move. But this is what an oil pump looks like. So if you ever have to replace or remove an oil pump for whatever reason, this is what you have to do. So you're obviously gonna do the disconnect of the solenoid valve. You're gonna disconnect her for the oil nozzle port, which just goes to the nozzle. And this is your oil supply. If you have another fitting here that's coming out, looks something like this, then you know it's a 2-pipe system. But the point is, you got to disconnect your supply, return if you have one, your solenoid, and also your nozzle port. Once you disconnect all of that, now you're able to move this from the actual motor. It comes right out. Now, this right here, this is a coupling. This little plastic piece of mierda right here is an actual coupling. This is where the magic happens. Because this fitting right here, or this coupling, connects to the little shaft right here on this oil pump. Now, when you connect her just like that, this connects right inside the actual motor. Now, without this fitting, or without this coupling I should say, this will never spin. So you need to put this on. It's very important. So whenever you're replacing an oil pump, or even replacing the motor, you have to have this on. If you do not have this, you're gonna be scratching your head, you'll be scratching your culo, you'll be like, what the hell did I do wrong? Let me call Louis the Boiler Man. And then of course, I will always tell you guys, come to my YouTube channel, Louis the Boiler Man. But that's neither here or there. Guys, like I said, do not forget to put the coupling on. Alright? So now, we're looking inside the motor. I know you guys have been asking me, what's this over here? Somebody did ask me this in a prior video, and I told them this is a capacitor. This capacitor is for your motor. The capacitor does go bad. Very rare does it go bad, but it does go bad. If you have to replace the capacitor, it's pretty straightforward. It's a matter of just removing this capacitor. There's 2 wires that goes here on the top. I would always advise you guys to take a picture and video and make sure that you don't make a mistake. Or you can look at the wire diagram, which is right over here, and just disconnect it. Let me show you guys. It's pretty straightforward. It's not hard. But I'm trying to think of an easy way. You know what? We'll get back to that in a little bit. Let me do the draw assembly, and then we'll get back to the capacitor. So let's get to the draw assembly. So this is what you guys look like. So we already moved the oil pump. We already moved the relay. Now we want to move the draw assembly. Draw assembly looks something like this. So we're gonna take a star or a Phillips screwdriver. There's several screws. So you're gonna remove screw number 1, which is on top. 1. Screw number 2, which is here. That takes off this cover, so I'm going to show you guys. Alright, so we're taking out the first screw. Then we'll take out the second screw. And what it is, just a cover, and it gives us access to the draw assembly. Alright, we're just about to finish up right now. And we just got her out. Alright, that's the second screw. Now, this is the cover. Comes out just like this. It's just that simple, guys. It's very simple. It's not hard. So it's just a cover that goes like that, and you have to put the screw back on. You put it one on the top and one on the bottom. But you want to remove her, it looks something like this. All right, now this is called the draw assembly. These are your electrodes right here. Now I have to take another screw. This screw right here. So we're not removing this screw in the bottom, which is flat. We're removing this one in the star. This actually connects to the actual housing, which is right here. I'm gonna take off this screw. And the screws are different. You can definitely tell the difference in the screws, so you cannot make a mistake. Okay, so look at the difference between this screw and this screw. Big difference. So you cannot make a mistake. So you obviously know this screws go here and here, and this one goes back right there. Okay guys, so check it out. I'm gonna pull her out. So this is it. This is called the draw assembly. So this is your electrode right here. It's basically all in one. So if you look at this, this is made out of porcelain. You always want to make sure you clean this up and clean her up. Make sure there's no cracks. If there's a crack, you may want to replace it. Also, remember, you want this to arc in between the electrodes, not in between the electrodes here in the back, because it defeats the whole purpose. Or you have something called delay ignition. What delay ignition is basically it doesn't turn on right away. So arc here, in the minute it arcs over here, it finally turns on, and you're gonna have like a rumble, or you're gonna have excess oil inside the chamber, and it's gonna start doing a little bit of a puffback, rumbling, smoke, and you're gonna scare, and you're gonna say, you know what, something went wrong. But it's just excess oil, too much combustion for the chamber. Until it burns out, it'll go away. So I'm going to show you guys how to remove this electrode right here. I just want to show you guys, just give you a little 360 view of what a draw assembly looks like. Alright, mi gente. So I'll take this screw off. And again, take pictures. I cannot emphasize that enough, or I cannot tell you this enough. Take pictures, take videos. Because listen, even as a professional, we do forget. So if you're not sure how to take it apart, or you weren't sure, or it's your first time taking it apart, take video, take a picture. Makes life so much easier. All right, so we're taking the screw apart. This is a screw that sets the electrode together, and it comes off just like that. It's very simple, guys. So if you could visualize it, when you put this into the draw assembly in place, and you put this relay, this is a transformer as well. It does something like this. And of course, this has like a little spring prong in it, so you guys can see it goes right inside. But this is what happens. So basically these two prongs meet, and when it starts arcing, it arcs in between these two electrodes right there. And typically you want to keep them about an eighth of an inch apart. That's what's recommended. I mean, usually you shouldn't have to do too much adjustment, but if you do, at least an eighth of an inch. Now, this is like the little assembly. This is the retention ring. This over here, we always tell everybody, guys, clean this up. And this place is a little dirty, but we want to clean her up. And we clean her up just like this. Get a water brush, clean her down. And give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna get a water brush. I'm gonna clean her so I can show you guys. Another thing is, not only do you want to make sure it's clean, but this is what remember, this is the blast tube. This is inside this blast tube right here. So what are you getting inside here? You're getting airflow. So if you can think of it, air is going down the blast tube into these little vines, which you can see right here. And what's going to do, it's going to give it like kind of like a jet feel. The fire, I'm going to show you in a little bit once we turn on the actual fire, because the fire is not an actual fire, it's an intact fire, and it actually has like a turbine feel for it. So the actual fire goes like this, if that makes any sense. But I will show you guys later in the video what it's going to do. But you got to make sure that's clean, because that's where the air goes through. You also want to make sure that's also clean, because you're going to have a distorted fire, and we don't want that. Because if you don't have a clean fire, it can be a smoky fire, it can be distorted, you can carbonize the boiler, and especially with oil, if it's running too rich and not enough air, you will definitely carbonize the boiler. You're going to have soot, and you're going to have a puff bag, and you're going to have a big problem. Alright guys, so give me a moment, let me get my tools. I'm going to take out the nozzle, I'm going to clean her up, and I'm going to show you momentarily what it looks like before and after. This is the before, let me show you the after. Look what it looks like after you finish cleaning her up. It looks pretty nice, right? I gotta say so myself. I did a pretty good job. So guys, it's nice and clean. That's what you want. And you guys can see the little veins here. It has to be nice and clean on both sides, meaning on the back as well as in the front. Okay, now I'm gonna take out the nozzle. So whenever you're replacing a nozzle, always have an open-end wrench. Looks something like this. We call it open-end wrench or box wrench. The size you want is 3/4 by 5/8. So the actual nozzle is 5/8. And over here in the back is actually designed so you can put your box wrench just like that. That's 3/4. And you can put your open-end box wrench just like this on your nozzle. And then, there we go. And it's that simple, guys. You can remove the nozzle. So you do it by hand. Sometimes it's a little rough. You gotta do it with the wrench, but same thing. I'll take her apart, do something like this, and of course, that's it. It's just that easy, guys. This is what a nozzle looks like. In case you don't know what a nozzle looks like, this is exactly what an oil burner nozzle looks like. Now, guys, keep this in mind. All oil burner nozzles are not the same or not equal. They look the same. They're the same size. They're 5/8, and they look the same, but they're not the same. What I mean by that, there's actual number stamped here on this particular one. It's 1.2560 SS. So what does that number mean? That means this is burning a gallon and a quarter an hour, and it's 60 degrees. So guys, you know what a 90 is, right? A 90 is an elbow. So of course you have 360 that goes around, 180 which is over like this. So basically what this is telling you, that 60 degrees, which is the fire. So if it's 60 degrees, it looks something like this, a little narrow, and it's telling you that at a gallon and a quarter an hour, this is what this nozzle is burning. They do have other nozzles with different ratings. So it's the same style nozzle, but for example, one will say 0.8560. All that will tell you is it's burning less than a gallon an hour at 60 degrees of an angle. So the second number is the angle of the fire, and the first number is telling you how much it's burning per hour. So it could burn 0.50, which is half a gallon an hour, to 1.0, which is 1 gallon an hour, and it could burn 1.5, which is a gallon and a half an hour. That's what the number is. You do not want to make a mistake, because there's a rating plate on the boiler, and there's also a rating plate on the burner. And this particular burner is telling me here, I'll show you this right here, if you guys can see right there. So it's telling me this is rated to burn 0.75, so 3/4 of a gallon an hour, all the way to a gallon 50 an hour, which is a gallon and a half an hour. That's what it's rated for. So you know you cannot put this under 0.75 or over a gallon and a half. Otherwise, you're gonna take it out of its range, and you're gonna have problems. So guys, it's very important, you guys, to read the specifications not only on the boiler, but also on the burner. That's for another video. All right, guys, we just removed the nozzle. Looks something like that. All right, so now we get this out the way. What's next? Oh, now let's get to the best part, which is the motor itself, which is right over here. So guys, first thing is first, we gotta take off this plug. Let's plug off something like this. A little bit sometimes to take out, but it comes off. And there we go. That comes off. Now we want to take off the screws. We have two screws here, one here, and one right over here. So this is how you remove the actual, well, we could call this an actuator, motor, the damper motor, whatever you want to call it. People call it different names, but it's the motor for the damper. So move one here, take the screw here, move one here. There we go. I mean, it's a little motor, nothing crazy, but you can see it's a motor and it has little gears in there. And what this basically does, it just, when it's called for heat, this spins. So you can see this is in the closed position right here. And then when it spins, it opens up. It opens up to where you set it to. So if you want more air, you're gonna open more air. If you want less air, it's gonna be less air. But again, you have to make sure you're doing the adjustment, your proper adjustments, because if you don't do your oil to air ratio correctly, you're gonna either burn too lean or too rich. What is too rich and too lean? Very simple. Too rich is too much fuel, not enough air. If it's too lean, it's too much air, not enough fuel. So if it's burning rich, it's be smoky. If it's burning lean, it looks like it wants to turn off or shut off. So guys, make your adjustments. All right. So now we got to remove the actual housing. So we got 1, 2, and 3, which is right here. Guys, so we got the 3 screws out, and make sure you mark them or put them somewhere you don't lose them, and you identify them. You know which screws are which. 3, do the same ones. Once you have this cover. Wow, that's it. That's the cover. Look what we have access to. So now that little thing right here, we call it a squirrel cage fan, or just basically a blower wheel. This is a nickname we use in the industry, but this is it. So basically what this does is when this activates, it gets power, it spins, and what it does is blows air. So you can see it blows air this way, so the fins or the vines are going this way. It's basically like a scoop, so scooping up air. So the air is going this way, into this housing, and it's going right down this hole right here, right into your blast tube, downstream into where your drawer assembly looks something like this. Okay. Next thing is we have to remove this set screw. There's a little set screw here. You have to get an Allen key. You get a long one, has a T-handle, or you get a small one, whatever you want. But you do have to remove this right here, because if you do not remove this, you will never take out this motor. So we have to remove this little set screw right here. Okay, mi gente, good news and bad news. The good news is we will move on with the video. The bad news is I wasn't able to take off the blower wheel off the motor because it's actually seized. It's been sitting a while in my shop. I use it for demonstration purposes and educational purposes, and I guess it's been sitting there for a while that it just got rusted just enough that it's seized. It doesn't matter what I do. I try putting WD-40, I try putting everything, it doesn't want to work. So just so you guys can see, I'll have a visual for video purposes. I'm gonna move on with the video. So this is what the chassis looks like. In this case, this is actually going downstream, going this way. I mean, I screwed up the actual blower wheel by trying to take it off. But anyway, this has a set screw inside here. You want to remove that set screw and you want to put WD-40, look something like this. You want to definitely want to drench it. You want to drench it as much as you can, just like that inside the little set screw. Once you do that, once it's soaked up, usually in normal circumstances, this comes right off. Unfortunately, this won't come off right now, but I just want to give you at least a visual. Once you remove this, now you're able to remove the motor. The motor, just so you know, there's only two set screws. There's one here, and there's one right over here. So there's two set screws that keeps this motor into place onto the chassis or the housing, whatever you guys want to call it. And once you remove that, it comes right out. I wanted to show you guys on the video as well. This is where the oil pump sits at. So this actually tightens up this hub right here, and this goes right inside here. So I want to show you guys that there's three set screws. A lot of times guys remove the set screw in the rear. The reason for that, because it's a pain in the ass to put an Allen key, especially when this is low to the ground in the boiler room. Right now we're in perfect conditions. We have a small table, but you're not going to find that in the boiler room. Sometimes some boiler rooms is easier to work than others, so they leave one screw out, so it's just easier. It just really needs just two, but just so you know, there's three. Another thing I want to show you guys, once you remove this, well, we damaged the actual insert here, but typically how this works is this is a mechanically driven oil pump. So it has a coupling that looks like this. I know there's a little thing, it's called the coupling. Go to the shaft of the oil pump, and basically it connects into this right here. Well, obviously the cover's here, but I took off the cover so you guys can see closely. So this would go just like this, and this side, if you guys can visually connects just like that. So guys, this is a teardown of the day for a Riello oil burner. This is what it is. The next time I'm gonna put a video, I'm gonna put it back together so I can show you guys when we put it back together and gonna make it work. So guys, stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel, hit that bell button, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, call Louis the Waterman, 516-377-5200. Woo-wee! We're back.